Greetings for the day, dear students. In my discussion on structure of proteins, today is my third lecture and I will discuss the structure of primary proteins. Now first we will take the organization of proteins. Proteins have different levels of structural organizations like primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure and quaternary structure. These levels of organization of proteins are shown in this diagram. The primary structure is determined by the sequence of amino acids. Secondary structure is determined by it occurs when the amino acids are linked by hydrogen bonds, and the tertiary structure is formed when alpha helices of beta and the beta sheets are held together by weak interactions. And finally, the quaternary structure consists of more than one polypeptide chain. Now we'll define these levels of organizations. First is primary structure of protein, means the order of amino acids in the polypeptide chain and the location of disulfide bonds, if any. The secondary structure is the steric relationship of amino acids close to each other. The tertiary structure denotes the overall arrangement and the interrelationship of the various regions or domains of a single polypeptide chain, and the quaternary structure results when the proteins consist of two or more polypeptide chains held together by non-covalent bonds. First, we will take the primary structure. As I had told you, primary structure denotes the number and sequence of amino acids in the protein. Each polypeptide chain has a unique amino acid sequence. Here the word sequence is very important, and this sequence is decided by the genes. The primary structure is maintained by the covalent bonds of the peptide linkages. We should have a clear concept of the term sequence. We can see this with the help of an example. We take two tripeptides. Number one is glycine, alanine, valine, and the second sequence is glycine, valine, and alanine. So these both the tripeptides shown above contain same amino acid, that is glycine, alanine, and valine, but their sequence is altered. When the sequence is changed, the peptide is also different. So the sequence of the amino acids in the polypeptide is very, very important because it changes its type. Second point in the determination of primary structure of proteins is the characteristics of peptide bond. I have told the basics of the peptide bond in my previous lectures. Here there is a quick recap. The peptide bond is a partial double bond. The carbon-nitrogen bond is trans in nature and there is no freedom of rotation because the partial double bond character in it. The distance is 1.32 angstrom, which is midway between the single bond and the double bond. The value for single bond is 1.49 angstrom and the value for double bond is 1.27 angstrom. So we can see the value of bond length is 1.32 angstrom for the CN bond. So it lies in between these two values, that is for single bond and the double bond, and the side chains are free to rotate on either side of the peptide bond. So what picture becomes clear, that the peptide bond, that is carbon nitrogen bond, has no freedom of rotation, but the side chains are free to rotate. In this diagram, the formation of a peptide bond is shown by the combination of two amino acid residues, and in the lower figure it is shown that the carbon nitrogen bond has a partial double bond character shown by a dotted line. Now third point is Ramachandran plot. in a polypeptide, the main chain N-C alpha and C alpha C bonds relatively are free to rotate. These rotations are represented by the torsion angle phi and psi respectively. G. N. Ramachandran used computer models of small polypeptides to systematically vary phi and psi with the objective of finding stable configurations. For each conformation, the structure was examined for close contacts between atoms. Atoms were treated as hard spheres with the dimensions corresponding to their van der Waals radii. Therefore, phi and psi angles which cause spheres to collide correspond to sterically disallowed conformations of the polypeptide backbone. This we will understand with the help of few diagrams. Now, as I told, the torsion angles, or we call them Ramachandran angles, that is psi and phi, we can vary phi from minus 180 to 80 degree, and we can also vary phi from minus 180 to 180 degree, that is 360 degree of rotation for each angle. But many combinations of these angles are almost never seen, and the others are very common in proteins. I will show this in the next slide with the help of a diagram. Here the psi angle in the amino acid residue is shown. Here in this example, the value of phi is kept constant, that is 180 degree. So in the first diagram, psi is equal to 0 degree, and in the second diagram, psi is equal to 180 degree. In the next slide, here the phi angle of the amino acid residues are shown. In these example, the value of psi is kept 180 degree, that is constant. In the first diagram, phi is equal to 180, and in the second, phi is equal to 0 degree. Now we come to the previous slide. So we can see that there are many combinations possible between these values of phi and psi, that is between minus 180 to 180 degree. But as I said, many of the combinations of these angles are almost never seen, and some are very common. So if we plot the value of phi versus the value of psi, for an example, for a globular protein, we will obtain a data set for the positions of each atom in the space. Here a Ramachandran plot is being shown, and we can see here in the top left, that is 3a beta dash and C. 3 helices are shown. C is for collagen helix, beta is anti-parallel beta pleated sheets, and B dash is for parallel beta sheets. In the top right corner, here it is shown the left-handed alpha helix, which is generally not observed, and in the lower lower corner, right-handed alpha helix is shown, and on the lower right corner, there is no possible conformation for the peptide. Now here the screen regions show allowed values of phi and psi for L-alanine residues. Additional conformations are accessible for glycine, that is shown by dotted lines here in this diagram, because it has a very small side chain. So this was all about the Ramachandran plot. Now we come to the fourth point in the structure determination of primary structure of proteins, that is numbering of amino acids in proteins. In a polypeptide chain, at one end there will be one free alpha amino group. This is called the amino terminal, or we call it N-terminal end. The amino acid contributing to the alpha amino acid is named as the first amino acid. Usually the N-terminal amino acid is written on the left hand side when the sequence of the protein is denoted. The biosynthesis of protein also starts from the amino terminal end. The other end of the polypeptide chain is the carboxy terminal end, that is C terminal, where there is a free alpha carboxyl group which is contributed by the last amino acid. All other alpha amino acids and alpha carboxyl groups are involved in the peptide bond formation. Here we have shown the amino terminal and the carboxy terminal, that is N terminal and the C terminal of a tripeptide. Amino acid residues in the polypeptides are named by changing the suffix "-ine" to "-ile", that is glycine to glycyl. Here an example is NH2-gly-LaVal-COOH. In the above example, the amino group of the glycine is free, but the carboxylic group of the glycine is bonded with the amino group of the alanine. The carboxyl group of alanine in turn is bonded with the amino group of valine, and while the carboxyl group of the valine is free. Therefore, this peptide is named as glycyl alanyl valine. It is abbreviated as GLY-LAVAL or simply as GAV, GAV. Fifth point is use of symbols in representing a peptide. This I had also discussed in the previous slide. Here we have shown a tripeptide, that is 3 amino acids and 2 peptide bonds are shown. That is, here in the first line we have shown the amino acids in the peptide. These are glutamate, cysteine and glycine. In the second row we have shown one letter abbreviation, that is E for glutamate, C for cysteine and G for glycine. In the third row 3 letter abbreviation, that is GLU, CYS or GLY. And in the fourth row is the peptide name, glutamyl cystinyl glycine. Free amino end, that is N terminal acid residue, is N plus H3, that is NH3 plus is on the left, and free carboxyl and C terminal amino acid residue, that is carboxylate, is on the right. So this was all about the primary structure of proteins. In the next lecture we will discuss the secondary structure of proteins. Thank you. Have a nice day.